Okay, we're live. You can start with the relay.
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. It is 5:02 on September 21st on 2020, and I would like to call the meeting of the City of Seaside Zoning Administration to order. The first item of business that we have is public comment. Anybody wishing to make a public comment on any item that is not on the agenda, I repeat, any item that is not on the agenda, is welcome to speak at this time for up to 3 minutes. If you wish to be heard on an item that is on the agenda, please wait until that item is called before you speak on that agenda item. Is there anybody who would like to speak on this, on a non-agendized item? If so, please raise your hand via the Zoom meeting.
I don't see any hands raised here.
All right. Again, if anybody would like to speak on any non-agendized item, please raise your hand for the Zoom meeting. I'll try one last time here. Madam City Clerk?
There appear to be no requests to speak.
Okay, super. All right, let's move on to our business item for tonight. Our business item 3A is a minor use permit application, number MUP 20-07, City of Seaside, property owner and Black and Veatch applicant on behalf of Monterey County IT Department has applied for a minor use permit approval to replace an existing 30-foot tall public radio transmission tower with an 80-foot radio transmission tower, and to install a new radio equipment shelter, a new generator with associated 500-gallon propane tank, and to erect an 8-foot tall fence to secure the project site. The project site is located northeast of the intersection of Coe Avenue and General Jim Moore Boulevard, immediately west, and the APN number is in the document, immediately west of an existing water filtration facility in the open space recreation zoning district. City staff?
Beth Rocha, Associate Planner. As described, the project has a few things going on. Number one thing is the replacement of a 30-foot tall public radio transmission tower with an 80-foot tall radio transmission tower. The project does qualify as exempt from CEQA pursuant to section 15302C, which exempts replacement or reconstruction of existing utility systems and our facilities involving negligible or no expansion of capacity. As indicated in the intro, project is northeast of what is labeled here with the location icon of Coe Avenue and General Jim Moore Boulevard. It's already the site of the 30-foot tower. And this is where the scope of everything that was described, the tower, the shelter, the generator, and associated 500-gallon propane tank and fence will be installed. This is a site plan showing those details and locations of everything that was outlined in the scope of work. On the left-hand side, outlined in red, you'll see the chain link fence that's called out. And then on the right-hand side, from top to bottom, we have the 500-gallon propane tank. It has a spark protection area, so it will be maintained as required by those regulations. The generator, the equipment shelter, and then the proposed 80-foot tower. So this all came about because Monterey County was notified by City of Seaside's Public Works Department that the county's radio antennas that are located off of Skyview Drive, which I believe the address for that is 1444 Skyview Drive, would need to be removed because the city needs to do maintenance on those water towers, and it will discontinue leases at that water tower site as a result. And the county was already in process for modification to its public radio network system and concluded that their antennas on the city's water tank site would be best suited as a consolidation to the county's existing tower site that we're considering tonight. So currently, Monterey County leases the property from the city for the existing 30-foot public radio tower and will continue to do so for the new swapped out 80-foot radio tower. In this area and along this bluff where the site is located, there are several power transmission towers that are 80-foot plus feet in height that provide power to the residential communities, both to the north and south of the open space area, and as well as to the city's golf course to the east. And the residential communities are definitely more than 300 feet away from the existing facilities of the county. So Monterey County IT's department is undergoing public radio network improvements by consolidating their technology and infrastructure to further accommodate the public for purposes of emergency management and public safety throughout the county. And the county is requesting to update their tower. Overall improvements are approximately 30% increase in coverage to provide service to additional 14,000 people as a result of the potential 80-foot tower being approved. And it is solely used for the purposes of public radio transmissions. And for all the other regulations that exist at state and federal level, Monterey County's tower proposal meets all FCC, FAA, NEPA, and other guidelines related to radio frequency exposure health guidelines, environmental standards, cultural and natural resource requirements. Going back to some of the elements of the zoning code, the height limits established in the zoning ordinance exempt radio towers. So that's not an element that would have been of concern in our review, except for two, considering what exists in that area. As I mentioned, the existing radio or power transmission towers that are going all along Jim Moore Boulevard. So let's look a bit more into what's going on at the site. These are just elevations of the tower from every side. There is a schedule in the attachment, which is the project plans, that tells you what all of this equipment is. And the applicant can definitely speak to what's going to be placed on that tower, as well as the justification letter, which is attachment 2 regarding the proposed height. So I'm just going to click through these elevations real quick. Northeast, southeast, and then coming to our findings that we've made for the staff report. OSR zone with approval of a minor use permit.
Hey Beth, you cut out there for about 5 or 6 seconds.
Okay. The proposed use of the 80-foot public radio tower, which will replace the current 30-foot public radio tower, is classified as a public or quasi-public serving use, and it's allowed in the OSR zone with the issuance and approval of a minor use permit. The proposed use is consistent with the city's general plan, and the open space recreational zone implements and is consistent with the parks and open space and recreational commercial land use designations of the general plan. The proposed tower replacement is compatible with existing and planned future land uses in the vicinity, and the tower will replace an existing tower within the parcel that is parcels owned by the city, operated by the county. And that zone allows for community use, which includes uses related to public health and safety significance, which this system will provide to the community. The tower replacement is physically suitable for the property, and the physical characteristics of its design allow for public radio transmissions to not be interrupted due to the topography of the property, which is raised above the surrounding areas. And the height of the tower is comparable again to surrounding power transmission towers on adjacent properties in the area. And the final finding is regarding the granting of this permit not being detrimental to public interest, health, safety, convenience, or welfare. And granting this permit will actually be beneficial for the community, its safety and health. And this proposal provides emergency management, public safety services to the surrounding community that would otherwise be underserved. So staff recommends approval of minor use permit 20-07, subject to attachment 1, which is a draft resolution, which also contains 3 specific conditions of approval regarding removal and replacement timing of the equipment on both the 1444 Skyview Drive towers as well as on the subject site, and subject to, again, Exhibit A to Attachment 1, the project plans. That concludes staff's presentation.
Thank you, staff. I have one question, and I'm not sure if staff would answer this or maybe the applicant would. And this goes back to the site plan. I noticed on the site plan, there was a radius around the propane tank, and I believe you might have said it was like a 20-foot radius, and that kind of touches the pump house, I believe. Are you prepared to comment on the safety of that, or would the applicant discuss the safety of that perhaps?
I'll let the applicant discuss that because I don't think the dimensions on here are that legible to me right now. So I'll let the applicant speak to that.
Super, thank you. All right, is the applicant online and prepared to speak?
The applicant is Kevin Provence, is that correct?
I believe that is the name.
Oh, there you go. Kevin, you can now unmute yourself and speak on the item.
Good afternoon. This is Kevin Provence. Can you hear me?
Yes.
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 Yes. Good afternoon. To answer your question, that is a fire radius. That's regarding any, what they call a spark radius. So for any issue dealing with ignition point, it shows that we meet the fire code. So within that radius itself, there shall be no specific metal or any other types of object that would create an issue for a spark. So it's a 20-foot radius. I think that's a little bit exaggerated. I'll get clarity for that, but if it needs to move, we can move it to make sure that we clear the existing pump house.
All right, thank you for that clarification. I didn't understand that it was a spark radius. Okay, super. Would you like to say any other comments in light of the presentation to add any additional
I think
information?
staff did well. I think staff did well. I mean, took all the words out of my mouth. Where do I begin? I mean, we could just add a little bit to that is with regards to residents, the 2010 census showed that we're at 14,400. So when we get to the 2020 census, we're going to have even more residents served as a result. So that's exciting to see that the underserved areas in Sand City and Marina, even parts of Seaside will be served as a result of having this 80-foot tower. So I just wanted to add that's based off the 2010 census. So there will be an increase in the amount of residents being served by this public radio communication facility. On that note, we do concur. I'm sorry, excuse me, there's a delay. On that note, we do concur with staff's report. We agree that we comply with all the requirements in the municipal code as well as the general plan. And if there's any further questions, we have Monterey County here. We also have Chief Dempsey for any questions regarding the partnership with the city of Seaside. And also our RF tech answering questions regarding any questions of the antenna or the equipment service that's being provided at this communication facility.
Thank you. At this time, well, the zoning administrator has no further questions at this time. So I would like to open it up for public comment. If anybody would like to make a public comment on this item, now is your opportunity to speak up to 3 minutes. Please indicate so on the Zoom meeting, and the city clerk will work with you.
All right. Chief Dempsey, you can unmute yourself and speak on the item.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Gloria and Beth. Great presentation. So for me, I absolutely support staff's recommendation for the approval of the minor use permit. Clear, concise, reliable communications are critical for public safety. Upgrading this public radio transmission tower provides a number of benefits. Expanded public safety coverage in Seaside, as well as our surrounding cities and districts, because daily Seaside requests assistance of our auto and mutual aid partners, including emergency medical providers, facilitated by by radio communications. So very, very important for us to have that interoperability. Expanded public safety coverage for all our partner agencies within Monterey County. Most all agencies in Monterey County are dispatched by Monterey County Communications Center. Most recently exercised with the River, the Carmel, and the Dolan fires, which are still going on right now. Assets are requested from around the state, and interoperability is critical during these events. And finally, removal and co-location of the antennas from the city's water towers will be of great benefit to engineering and the Public Works Department, because over the years I've heard, or I've been contacted, hey, can you contact somebody from Monterey County in reference to maintenance or some issue with the antennas. So it's been a bit of a sore spot, I guess, for Public Works and engineering. So this would be great to be able to just co-locate those antennas onto one tower. That's all I have to say, unless you have any questions. And Chief Pridgeon is also on the line if you have any questions.
Thank you for your comments, Chief. Anyone else wishing to speak on this item, please raise your hand now. Madam Administrator, I don't have any further requests to speak.
All right. Well, as such, I'm prepared to make a decision. One of the things that I would like to do is being concerned with the spark radius, and I think now more than ever, all of us are extremely sensitive to the damage that just one single spark can do in California. I think it's important to give staff some leeway on this one, and I'd like to add a condition to what I'm going to read for the approval of this, but I'm going to add staff the ability to work with the applicant on the 20-foot spark radius if a slight shift may be needed. So that way they will have some ability, if the applicant determines that they may have to move it just slightly regarding the pump house. So if indeed that is the case, we'll give them that leeway. So with that, I would like to approve, the zoning administrator would like to approve the minor use permit application number MUP 2007, City of Seaside property owner, Black and Veatch applicant, on behalf of Monterey County IT Department, have applied for minor use permit approval to replace an existing 30-foot tall public radio transmission tower with an 80-foot radio transmission tower, and to install a new radio equipment shelter, a new generator with associated 500-gallon propane tank, and to erect an 8-foot tall fence to secure the project site. The project site is located in the northeast of the intersection of Coe Avenue and General Jim Moore Boulevard, immediately west of an existing water filtration facility in the open space recreation zoning district, and giving staff the ability to work with the applicant on the 20-foot spark radius if a slight shift is needed. So with that approval, I'd like to note that if anybody wishes to appeal this item, they can make an appeal within 7 business days by notifying the city clerk for the city of Seaside, and you can do that via email at cityclerk@ci.seaside.ca.us. That's cityclerk@ci.seaside.ca.us, and make your appeal be known to the city clerk within 7 business days. Thank you. And with that, we have no other business items. So at 5:21, this meeting of the zoning administrator is adjourned. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.